Y'all ready to go? All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Let the record show that all members are present with the exception of Mr. Omer and Mrs. Brown. At this time, we'll stand and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. At this time, everyone has been presented with a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any additions or corrections? If not, we'll let those stand as presented. Mr. Hedrick, do you have claims for us?
Yes, make a motion to approve all claims and payroll as submitted.
Have a motion to approve the claims and payrolls. Do I have a second for that? Mr. Miller, do I have any questions on anything? If not, all in favor of approval, raise your right hand. 5-0. All right, any donations?
None this month.
Doing any information?
Information report, we have a couple items to share with you. The first is our staff members of the month. Again, this is a new program we have with a sponsor, Habig Injury Law Firm. This partner that is our representative emailed me about 2 hours ago, and he had an emergency, cannot be here, but we still want to recognize our individuals. When I asked Mrs. Murphy to speak a little bit on her nomination this month.
Did you print it this time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm like, I can't remember everything I said. Thank you. All right, I am pleased to nominate Holly Reinking for her outstanding dedication and contributions to Washington Primary. Holly has gone above and beyond in supporting our school community. She has taken on the complex task of understanding and managing the intake for the On My Way pre-K program, demonstrating incredible diligence and attention to detail. Holly is the first smiling face parents, students, and community members see when entering our building, and her warmth and positivity make a lasting impact on everyone. Her commitment extends far beyond her contract hours, as she often stays late to ensure the smooth operation of the school. Holly's care for both the staff and the students is evident in everything she does, and she is truly dedicated to fostering the best possible environment for everyone. Holly's contributions are invaluable, and she exemplifies the heart and spirit of Washington Primary. Welcome.
Thank you, Holly. Next, we have one of our bus drivers here, Barb Riker. Barb?
No, Barb's not here.
Barb's not here.
Brooklyn's here.
Brooklyn's here. Brooklyn Taylor, who's one of our food service people. Brooklyn is an assistant manager at the high school. Beyond her normal daily duties, she works after school hours for catering, routinely works over fall and spring break for events, and works all summer assisting and managing the delivery portion of our summer food program to local camps. She is an invaluable asset to our food service team and is deserving of recognition. Thank you, Brooklyn. The other two, real quick, just for the board to know, we had Barb Riker was nominated by Kevin Byer for her work as a bus driver, and then Susie Hawthorne was our high school nomination, nominated by Mr. Holland.
Very good. It's a great program. We appreciate them sponsoring that. And thank you guys for everything that you do for our school. Okay.
The second item we have for information report, I asked Mrs. Murphy to come and just give an update on the happenings of Washington Primary so far this school year.
Okay. So even though it's only fall break, I feel like I've been deep into my role as the new principal for quite a while now. It's been a busy and exciting start to the school year, and I'm thrilled to share what's been happening at Washington Primary. This summer, we kicked off 2 beautification days over the summer with staff and PTO really rolling up their sleeves. We had beautiful murals painted throughout our building, turned our workroom into a cozy lounge, created a sensory path down the sidewalk, and even got our basketball goals shortened and painted. There were lots of other little updates around the building that have made a difference in making our school feel welcoming and vibrant. One of the biggest changes this year that we have launched is the On My Way Pre-K program. Families can now apply for vouchers, which means they can either get partial or full funding to send their little ones to preschool. It's a great addition to the school, helping more kids get that strong start to kindergarten. Our DLI program is growing. We expanded it into 1st grade. And recently we held our 2nd annual DLI family night. As a 1st grade parent of a DLI student myself, it was so neat to see my daughter and her friends interacting in Spanish. They don't really interact with us at home in Spanish, but when they feel comfortable around their teachers, they do. And at this event, the students and parents took part in academic activities, made crafts, and we even had an Ecuadorian dance performance. The DLI program is all about the 3 pillars: bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural. This year, we wanted to do something special, so we hung flags in the DLI hallway representing not just the countries of our teachers, but home countries of all of our students. So right now, we have 11 different flags flying in our hallway. And I have to tell you a sweet moment from registration. A little girl came in with her parent and was leaving, and I don't know which country it was, but she turned to the flag and she said, "Mom, that's my flag." And so her mom got a picture with her home country flag and the USA flag. So that was nice to see that we're showing the students the representation of their culture in our buildings. We're always finding new ways to push forward with our Kids at Hope initiatives. This year, our staff is focusing on their own ACEs, those key people in our lives, and thinking about our own destinations. We want to model for our students, showing them more about who we are as people. We recently had our Touch a Truck event, which was a huge hit. We had amazing volunteers come out and show students the vehicles that they use for work: fire trucks, police cars. We even had a helicopter. Our next event is the community parade. It's later this month. And we are excited that we get to show our appreciation to the community members who support our school. And to top it off, Play Partners was expanded to all grade levels. So now we have trained volunteers coming into recess to play with our students. And Randy Browning just went to the Masters Institute in Arizona, and she has come back with all kinds of fresh ideas, and we're so excited to see where she takes us next. Construction seems to be the theme at primary this year. A big change we had this year was our new car lane, and it's been working like a dream. Mr. Cornelius just asked me about that. We've only had traffic backed up on Highland a couple times, which is a huge improvement. We also added a wall this summer to create a dedicated STEM space. It did take away from some of the library, but both areas are working out very well, and our students are really benefiting. The road construction in front of the school, if you haven't ventured that way over fall break, has been a little bit of a headache, but we're working through it day by day with the transportation department. We're hopeful that by Monday, the paving on the west side entrance will be open and paved and will ease some of the congestion. One cool moment during this construction was the engineers reached out to us because our students had been visiting the construction so often that they put on a presentation for our whole first grade, and the kids loved it. Like any year though, we faced some challenges. We have seen an increase in behaviors with our incoming kindergarten students, but we're working closely with the co-op and their behavior specialists to figure out different strategies that can help our students regulate their emotions and stay engaged in their learning. We're also going to be teaming up with Indiana University for some training and some support to help strengthen our behavioral systems. With our growing population, we're also putting a big focus on understanding the different cultures in our building. Through a partnership with Bethany and 2 high school teachers, we now have a high school student who comes for a couple hours each day to help our students adjust to the school culture, explain the rules to them, and make sense of the why behind how things work. As a primary school, we know we're the first stop on a family's educational journey, and that comes with unique responsibilities. And we're working with community partners to come up with initiatives to help families start off strong. It's truly a team effort to make sure we're giving our students the best foundation possible. So thank you for your ongoing support. Washington Primary is a special place, and together, I think the community and all of us can continue to make it a caring environment where our students thrive.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Appreciate the information. Glad to hear things are going well.
Kristen, I got a grandson that's in the DLI, and he's singing that alphabet just constantly, driving everybody crazy.
My daughter sings a song on repeat, and I'll be like, what does that mean? And she's like, I don't know. They do.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't know how because we don't translate everything.
Yeah.
So we want them to understand the
I
language.
walked through lunch here just a week or 2 ago, and they were having chicken nuggets and peas, and I think everybody had a chocolate milk, and I pointed at the chicken nuggets and I said, how do you say that in Spanish? And I was looking at, I think it was Valerie Clark's little girl.
Mhm.
He's like, I don't know, ask him. She pointed at one of the little Spanish speakers, and he said something polo, and then she raised up her chocolate milk and said, chocolate leche. So she knew how to say chocolate milk.
Yeah. She actually, for 4-H this summer, she actually gave her communication speech in Spanish, parts
Wow.
of it. And she gave it on the dual language program. So that was really neat to see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bowen's doing great though.
Oh, yeah.
Has he got you?
Yeah,
Is he
Yeah.
getting you lined out?
yeah.
Teaching you a little
He's
bit?
teaching me a little bit as we go along.
There you go. He is good at it though.
Yeah. That's great. And it's nice to see a little blacktop going down in front of it.
Yeah.
Much anticipated, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Do we have anything
Thank you.
else?
That's everything.
All right. So at this time, do we have anyone signed up to give a patron statement regarding our agenda topics?
No.
No. All right. We will move on to personnel. And looks like no retirements or resignations. Leaves.
Leaves, I'm recommending the approval of the leave of absence for Rachel Graber from November 26th to March 4th.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve the leave for Rachel Graber. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Miller, second from Mr. Cornelius. Anyone have any questions on that? If not, all in favor? 5-0. Appointments.
The following recommendations to make for various positions. Tamara Weininger as an elementary aide, Renita Boer as an elementary aide, Gabriela Abanza Cardozo as an elementary teacher, Cheryl Johnson as a bus attendant, Bria Eskew as an elementary education apprentice for the primary, Addison Cummins as an elementary education apprentice at Washington Intermediate School, George Official, elementary education apprentice for the Washington Upper Elementary, and Beverly Hartz as a long-term sub-teacher for the leave of absence at Beale Elementary.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the appointments as listed. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. Miller. Any questions or anybody want to do anything individually on this list? So,
Excited for our high school students. to
Yeah.
get them.
what age are the high school students? that are-
So I believe they are juniors.
All 3 juniors.
Okay. That's great. It's like a great program.
So that is a program that Mr. Riney's worked on to create the dual credit options with Vincennes, and they did have to go in front of an interview team with the principals, and so these are all our own teachers. You hear about grow your own, so hopefully, these are students that someday will come back and will hire as teachers.
So were we limited to just 3 or was that the?
So
applicants had?
we started with 3. Did we have more than 3 apply, or?
I think we had 5 apply for the position, for the formal position.
Okay,
And so the idea is that we would have 6 total. Next year, we would have these 3 continuous seniors and then another 3 as
Okay.
juniors. So we would
so this
have
is the big
6.
year for it.
So, right.
Okay.
Now, we also have students who are doing a lot of these similar types of skills through the cadet teaching and what have you. The difference is these folks are probably, going a lot deeper into the work and in terms of what's being expected from them. And these folks are also getting paid.
All right, sounds like a great program. All right, all in favor of approval of the appointments, raise your right hand. 5-0. PCA appointments.
Following are recommended to be hired for the following ECA positions: Joshua Kemp for 7th grade assistant boys basketball coach, Grant Stafford for 5th and 6th grade boys basketball coach and 5th grade boys travel coach, Jeff Lemon, 5th and 6th grade boys basketball coach and 5th grade boys travel coach, Allie Barber for elementary girls basketball as a volunteer, Kyle Cornelius, a 6th grade boys travel basketball volunteer, Bree Browning as a volleyball volunteer, and Daisha Haig as a junior high dance coach, which is a volunteer position.
All right, we have a recommendation to approve the ECA appointments. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. Miller. Can Mr. Cornelius vote in this thing since he's a volunteer? Or I don't care, I just want to make sure.
background check on Kyle.
Don't call the wife.
Yeah.
Probably good with the state, but the wife, I don't know.
Since it's volunteer, we will allow you to vote.
Okay. All right.
All right, all in favor of approval, raise your right hand. 5-0. Anything else?
Do have one other item, recommendation for the termination of Aaron Hammond as a bus driver effective October 1st.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the termination. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Miller, second from Mr. Cornelius. Any questions on that? If not, all in favor? 5-0. Thought we had 6 here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Be careful what you.
You don't raise your hand in an
No,
auction, All right. Any old business?
No old business tonight.
All right. At this time, we are going to pause our regular board meeting and move into an additional appropriations hearing. So I would like to welcome everyone to the additional appropriations hearing. The next item on the agenda is for the board to hold the hearing on the proposed bond proceeds. After a brief statement of purpose by Mr. Frank, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the additional appropriation.
So we're working through the process of issuing a general obligation bond called a GEO bond in the amount of $995,000. Working with our financial advisor, this was something they recommended to us just as we practice maintaining our tax rate and our debt service account. This was, we have the ability to do that. The purpose of the bond will go towards maintenance of facilities with 3 main focuses. One is the other half of the chiller that needs to be replaced that keeps the junior high and high school building cool. Then the second, or the other two projects would be at the upper elementary. The air makeup system is something that's been on our radar, just with air quality control in that building. It's something that needs to be done. And then also looking at the upper elementary gym and adding air conditioning to it.
Okay, so, just to lay out the ground rules for public input. At this specific hearing, we'll ask each person to limit their comments to 3 minutes and that the topic be limited to the proposed appropriation of the bond proceeds. So at this time, I would open the floor for public comment. Anyone like to say anything? I said a whole lot to make that possible. All right, if we don't have anyone, we'll move on to the vote.
So the first item for the board to vote on is the additional appropriation resolution. The additional appropriation resolution provides the approval of the school corporation to appropriate the funds for the proposed project in the same year in which general obligation bonds are issued.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve. How do I say that again? Approve,
The additional appropriation
The addition-
resolution.
yeah, okay, yeah, just to approve the additional appropriation resolution. Yeah, what he said. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Hendrick and a second from Mr. Miller. Anybody have any questions on the additional appropriation resolution? If not, all in favor? 5-0. What else?
And then the second item is the final bond. The final bond resolution contains the cost of the project, maximum interest rate, and other financial terms such as the first interest payment date and maturity dates of the bonds, all with respect to the issuance of general obligation bonds. Once this is issued, the first payment is July of 2025, and the last payment would be completed by January of 2031.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the final bond resolution. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Miller, second, Mr. Cornelius. Any questions on the final bond resolution? If not, all in favor? 5-0. All right. This time we conclude the additional appropriation hearing and move on to new business. So we'll be resuming our regular board meeting.
First item is I'm recommending the board to vote to move forward with the intention to deliver the notice of project hearing and preliminary determination hearings for our immediate needs project. So this would occur during the November 21st school board meeting. Would be a hearing like what we just had now. Would be the first one. We have to have notice of that one 2 weeks prior, so that would occur on November 7th. So just asking for board approval to basically post notice that we're going to have a hearing for that project.
Okay, and just to be clear, we're approving having the first hearing. We're not approving anything to specify what the project will be or anything like that. This is just
Right.
the first step in issuing a bond for it.
And it's a multi-month process.
Yes.
So with the larger bond, it takes it'll take the first 2 months, and then there's another period where a citizen could petition to make the project go to referendum. If we pass that period, then in January, I believe, for February is when we could have finally adopt the resolution to approve the preliminary plans, the form of the lease, and all that stuff. So, I mean, this is a longer process with this sort of larger bond amount.
Okay. So at this point, I have a recommendation to approve moving forward with the first project hearing. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Miller, second from Mr. Hedrick. Anybody have any more questions or comments on moving forward? If not, all in favor? 5-0. All right.
Next item are policy updates. We received quite a few updates through Neola. Part of them are what's called EDGAR, which has to do with how we handle our federal grants. And then the other half are our general updates. This month is just a first reading. So as you go, if you see anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know and I can find out what something means.
Okay, so no vote there, right? Just
Right.
read it.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a beta leadership trip request.
So Mrs. Wilson's putting in a trip request for her beta student leaders to attend different conventions that exist out of state. So it does require board approval. She's just seeking this ahead of time so that the ones that they choose to go to will be board approved.
All right, a recommendation to approve the trip request for beta leadership. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Cornelius, second. Mr. Miller, any questions? Not all in favor? 5-0. DECA Fall Leadership Conference.
DECA, Mr. Stoll and Hancock are looking to take their student leaders to the Fall Leadership Conference. This is an overnight conference up at Butler, so it does require board approval.
Okay, have a recommendation to approve the DECA Fall Leadership Conference trip. A motion for that. Mr. Hedrick, second. Mr. Miller, questions? All in favor? 5. Other?
No other.
No other. Anybody signed up to speak to us on non-agenda topics? 5 bunch. All right. Information items.
First item is we'll have a work session on November 13th at 6 o'clock in the primary cafeteria. You have a presenter coming to present on the design build method of school construction and answer questions on that process. I think it's be very just informative, and we will record that one. So if you can't be here, you'll be able to watch everything. Next board meeting, November 21st at 7 o'clock.
I hope we have good attendance at that work session. If anyone has questions, I know we've had a lot of questions as we went through our work sessions and talking with performance services. And I can tell you from just the Zoom meeting that Mr. Frank and I did with this guy, it clarified a lot of things for me, and he and I felt like it would be valuable information for not only for the board, but for the public. So get the word out if you can to those folks. And I'm sure you'll send an email to the facilities committee,
Yeah.
reminding them of that as well. So look forward to that. Any other? Anybody have anything else to bring before the board? I want to go first. Our high school band last Saturday night, in their first time in recent years, competing in open class, which is quite a step up from what we've been doing, managed to qualify to move from the regional to the semi-state round, and for a first year in that class, those kids sounded like they won state when they heard they made semi-state. So it was a great evening. We're looking forward to competing October 26th at Decatur Central. So I want to congratulate them personally because I was involved, but also hope our soccer team's doing well tonight.
Yeah.
And volleyball and sectional coming up for football. We got senior night tomorrow night.
Yeah.
A lot of good things happen. Anybody else? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. Miller. You guys want to go home?
Yeah.
All in favor? 5-0, meeting adjourned.